Stories are like maps that guide us through new lands. And for someone learning English, they are the compass that points toward new vocabulary and understanding. Today's narrative is about finding your own path, and it is also your chance to explore the English language in an intuitive and immersive way. We know the feeling well. The treadmill of digital busyness. We run all day, responding, posting, reacting, always trying to stay relevant. But at the end of the day, the question haunts us. Are we really getting anywhere? What if all this movement to keep ourselves visible is actually preventing us from creating the work that would make us truly memorable? This is the story of Nina, a writer and content creator, who was a master at feeding the algorithm, but couldn't achieve her true dream. In her apartment in Cold Spring, Nina was the driver and the engine of a one-woman digital media operation. As a popular history blogger, her dedication to maintaining her online presence was absolute. She was a content machine, tireless and efficient. Her day was a frantic dance with the algorithm. It began with the race to create a visually appealing post for Instagram, followed by trend research for a short video on TikTok. Then came the avalanche of comments to answer, the metrics to analyze, and the planning of the next content for the following day. It was an endless cycle of constant movement, a daily battle to feed the algorithm's insatiable hunger for novelty. But on her desktop, minimized and almost forgotten, was another file. A solitary icon named Book. It was her true goal, her legacy project, an in-depth history book, the work she believed truly mattered. However, the book remained untouched, a silent symbol of the direction that was being sacrificed for the daily movement. The important work was always postponed for the urgent work. The catalyst for change didn't come in the form of advice, but of a cold front. On a Tuesday afternoon, while Nina was feeding 3 social networks at the same time, the sky over Cold Spring darkened, and the storm that had been brewing for hours finally broke. First, a flicker of light, and then darkness, and with the darkness, silence. Not just the silence of the house, but digital silence. The modem went dark. The cell signal vanished. All the tools of Nina's movement, all the windows to the world that demanded her constant attention, were shut at once. Her content machine was forcibly turned off. The first day without internet was a torture of stillness. Nina paced back and forth in her apartment, the impulse to check for notifications, like a phantom limb. The silence wasn't a refuge, it was a deafening vacuum. For the first time in years, she wasn't in motion, and the feeling wasn't one of peace, but of uselessness, as if, by stopping posting, she had ceased to exist. On the second day, the restlessness gave way to a deep boredom. With her laptop's battery as her only finite resource, Nina found herself with only one significant task that could be done offline. With a sigh of resignation, she navigated to the solitary icon on her desktop and opened her book file. At first, her mind struggled, addicted to the dopamine of interruptions. Without the siren call of notifications to distract her, her concentration, slowly but surely, began to deepen. The world disappeared, the hours dissolved. For the first time in years, she wasn't reacting, she was creating. She wasn't feeding the algorithm, she was connected with her research, with her narrative, with her own voice. At the end of the third day, the lights flickered and came back to life, and with them, the familiar sound of electronics resurrecting. The noise was back, but before reconnecting to the world, Nina looked at the work she had produced. She looked at the page count, at the depth of the research, and the epiphany hit her with an undeniable force. She had made more progress on her book in those 3 days of forced silence than in the last 6 months of constant movement. The proof was there, in black and white. When the internet returned, Nina did not return to being the same. The power outage had been a forced reset, which gave her a new and undeniable perspective. She understood the trap she had been living in. The algorithm has an infinite hunger, but her dream has a deadline and requires depth. She didn't abandon social media, but she put it in its proper place. With the clarity of a strategist, she completely redesigned her work routine. Mornings were declared sacred, offline territory, with the Wi-Fi turned off. They were protected blocks of time, dedicated exclusively to writing the book. The direction. The afternoons, on the other hand, were designated for the reactive tasks, for the movement, posting, responding, interacting. Months later, the final scene of her transformation is not an explosion of virality, but a moment of silence and purpose. We see Nina at her desk, calm and focused. With a deliberate click, she attaches a file to an email, the file's name, Final Manuscript. She sends it to a publisher. She was still an online content creator, but now with a sense of calm, knowing that her movement finally served a direction, and not the other way around. Nina's journey, from the treadmill of busyness to the silence of deep work, teaches us one of the most important lessons of the digital age. Being busy and being productive are not, and never have been, the same thing. True progress is not measured by the amount of movement we generate, but by the quality and consistency of our direction. Her story is an invitation to look at our own to-do list and ask ourselves, what here is just movement, and what is direction? What am I doing to feed the algorithm, and what am I doing to feed my soul? And how can I protect the time for my direction today? If this story about the difference between movement and direction resonated with you, leave a comment below. Like and share this video so this message can find others running on the treadmill of busyness. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that teach us to navigate our modern world with more purpose. Until next time, stop running in circles and take a step in the right direction.